Joining us now is Eric Mandel. He's the founder and director of the Middle East Political Information Network. So obviously, we're hearing these comments about President Trump openly talking about striking Iran's oil export hub again. Ultimately, this is coming as we're seeing more U.S. troops lose their lives. I'm interested to hear what we're hearing from the American public in terms of support for this continued war.
I've been monitoring all of the American stations here, and you get mixed messages. I think what we are in right now is the United States and Iran are in a game of brinkmanship over the Straits and over Kharg Island. Americans, when they're reporting that they're getting, they are not being told even the difference between Kharg Island and the Straits of Hormuz. One of the things that is not being mentioned that should be mentioned is at the end of this, we Americans cannot allow Iran to be able to threaten to close the straits in the future. And what Americans are now concerned about, what they're hearing, is about boots on the ground. And what does that mean? We know there's about 2,000 Marines headed from the Far East to come to this area. It may take 10 to 14 days for them to get there. We believe that it's regarding securing the Straits of Hormuz. There are also disputed islands, the Greater and Lesser Tube, Abu Musa, which are islands in the middle of the Straits of Hormuz. There's Kharg Island, which is hundreds of kilometers north. And then there's also these boots on the ground regarding securing the 60% enriched uranium in the tunnels of Isfahan. What the American media is not emphasizing, they're basically still talking about a cycle of hate of each other. They don't understand that why Iran doesn't react as we Westerners would react. They don't realize that the regime decision makers are based upon a revolutionary radical Islamist jihadist ideology, because we keep hearing, we're talking about what Americans are thinking. They're thinking that Iran is going to respond this way. They don't realize that a cornerstone of this regime is a cult of death, a cult of martyrdom, cult of jihadism. And so Americans are confused, but those oil prices are something, the gas prices, I should say. And I believe Iran's goal remains the same: delay, stretch this out as long as possible, put as much pressure on the United States public through either killing Americans or raising gas prices. And I think their strategy is also to make the UAE and the other GCC nations run out of interceptors. And I do think, I was listening to Yakov, and I was interested in his comment. I think they may also be pacing their munitions as they're decreasing. The reason I say that is because it doesn't take much to continue to threaten. If they can get a drone, a cruise, or a ballistic missile through once every other day, that still terrorizes the public and leads to global insecurity.
Right, and economic stagnation here in the state of Israel. Absolutely. I just want to quickly get your take on, the relationship right now between the United States president and the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. Do you believe they're aligned at this point, especially when it comes to how long this continued war is going to take? We're seeing the IDF now say they believe they need at least 3 more weeks of operations.
I hate when people put deadlines here, because Iran uses that to its tactical and really strategic advantage. As far as the relationship between Netanyahu and Trump, we don't know. We still assume it's very strong. But I think we need to be very clear. When President Trump says we are done, we have a victory, Israel is most likely going to have to stop. I'm not sure the president will allow unilateral Israeli actions, even if Israel has many more targets. And we have precedent for that. During that 12-day war, Israel had planes in the air on day 12, and the president told Netanyahu to turn them around. Now, granted, we're in a very different spot at this point of time, but the president is the one who is ultimately calling the shots here.
Right.
And Israel is looking for, in a fast pace, to hit as many tactical targets in this enormous country of Iran.
All right. I'd like to thank you so much for joining us, Eric.